Let's talk about how to pass the Lidl video interview. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here to help you get hired. Today we're going to be talking about the German supermarket giant and how you can pass their video interview. We're going to be talking about their recruitment process and the most common questions that you can expect in the Lidl video interview. And this video is going to be a little bit different because we're going to concentrate predominantly on the area manager role. Now, a couple of years ago, Lidl and Aldi both hit the headlines because they were paying £45,000 a year for area managers for their stores here in the UK, which made them one of the highest paid graduate roles on the market, even compared to investment banks and legal firms. Now, of course, if you can prepare well for this type of interview, you prepare really well for any type of interview at Lidl, because this is one of the most competitive roles out there at the minute. We're going to go through the recruitment process, most common questions, and finally I'm going to talk to you about the role itself, some things to think about, because a lot of times in the interview what we found is people were asked about particular situations that they could expect to come across within their stores that they're managing. So let's start off by talking about the recruitment process. Most candidates reported that the process took a month, so it was pretty short. You had an online application, then you would have a live video interview where candidates were asked questions about their experience, previous jobs, their academic career and strengths and weaknesses, and then they were asked questions about particular situations inside the store and how you would have managed them. Finally, in the assessment centre, there was registration and refreshments, then 2 rounds of interviewing at different stages of the day. Then you were split into groups of 8 and given tasks to do, and people were assessed on how they reacted in the tasks. So let's talk about 5 most common questions for Lidl. Why Lidl? So if you want a really in-depth answer to this, check out the card up in the top right hand corner where we break this question down in depth and also provide a free worksheet. Now, really importantly, when you're answering a question like this, you want to have some good facts and you want to make sure that you've done your research. So make sure that you've read up about Lidl on their website, about us, on their annual report, and specifically to do with Lidl UK, what makes them different. Aldi and Lidl really made waves by quite a simple idea, which is instead of buying washing powder from Persil, they just made it themselves. So they cut out the middleman. Essentially, they're producing the products and selling the products, whereas a lot of companies, they would still buy in products from, so you might have Tesco, Saver, washing up powder, but you'd also have lots of other brands that get stocked. So that's how they manage to kind of keep it really efficient, keep the price down, and also they have that margin of scale because they're so big, right? So it's worth talking about it, why they've been so successful and what is a really competitive market. The grocery market traditionally has less than a 2% profit margin, so it's really close to the bone and it's highly competitive here in the UK. But pick out some facts, make sure you do your research. I'd say 5-6 facts would be perfect for this question, and also why does it mean something to you. Question number 2, where would you like to be in 5 years? Well, if you're an area manager, or you're going for a store manager to become an area manager, then you'd want to be managing a bigger region, you'd want to be managing more stores, or you'd want to be making sure that your stores are performing at the optimum level possible, that you're being as efficient, that you're producing as little waste as possible. These are the variety of problems that grocers go through, not just are they selling enough, but also are they not wasting a lot, because that's where a lot of the money is kind of going out the door. And is staffing sufficient? These are all different types of questions to think about with a grocery business. Question number 3, tell us about yourself. Again, if you want a really in-depth answer and explanation to this question, as well as a free worksheet, check out the card up in the top right hand corner. Tell me about yourself is a really great place to start if you've never prepared for an interview before. We always start off candidates by preparing a really good personal introduction, because this is basically you summarising everything that you've done that you believe is relevant to an employer. And it's actually quite simple, it comes in 7 parts. So what are you doing right now? What have you done in the past 3 to 5 years? What would you like to do? What's your work experience? Extracurricular interest, skills, hobbies, and then finally I like to end with a hook, which is something that's quite interesting about you, that's unique, that maybe not a lot of people know, just something that kind of teases people in. So depending on the person, I might turn around and say, I'm a keen runner, I enjoy martial arts, I like collecting coins, I'm a big bookworm, I'm an advertising geek, I love to write, I've written several books of poetry. These are all just different hooks depending on my audience that really leads that person to say, oh, tell me more. What is all that about, for example? Yeah. So tell me about yourself, and you really want to try and get this done and down to pat in 2 minutes or less. Most people tend to run long initially with personal introductions, but also this is your chance to make a really good first impression. I find a great personal introduction really sets the tone for the rest of the interview. Question number 4, what are your strengths? So really you want to be thinking about what are the strengths of a good area manager, a good owner. What Lidl really wants is they want people who are going to be treating a business like they're the owner of a business. You know, you're talking about a significant going concern. If you're managing 3, 4, 5, 6 stores, how much are they making, you know, every week, every month? You're talking about a multi-million pound business. So you want to think in the mind of an owner, which is basically that you need to be strategic, you need to think about what to do, you need to be highly organized, you need to be really good at planning and preparation, you need to not be afraid of conflict and also of expressing yourself. You need to be very direct, you need to be action focused, and you need to be quite decisive in the things that you're doing. And also the ability to work hard and go the extra mile. I find that any owner, leader, manager is only as good as the work that they do as what they seem to be doing, and also their engagement and commitment to their staff. Very often when I have trained managers before and seen them go wrong is they tend to disassociate or separate themselves from their staff. So they cease to become human and they do what I tend to call the seagull style of management, which is they fly in, poop on everyone and then leave. So it just becomes someone that people are really quite resentful about. And not something that people, I wouldn't say necessarily are going to love you if you're in an ownership, management or leadership position, but they should respect you. They should respect you and feel like this is a person who I feel like that I can follow. Because if they don't respect you, then they're not going to follow you and they're not going to do what you say when you're not there. And of course you can't always be there all the time. Question number 5, what are your weaknesses? I think that this is a really good opportunity to be honest, to really appraise yourself and have a decent level of self-assessment. One of the best and most defining characteristics I've found from some of the people who I admire the most is just the ability to admit that they're wrong, to admit that they're not good at stuff, and to be really honest about it. So what is something that you lack? Is it that you just have a poor work-life balance? Is it that sometimes you can be a little bit disorganized, sometimes you can mismanage your time? Are you too easily distracted? Do you spend too much time on your phone? And this is a good opportunity for you to probably just pick out 1 or 2 weaknesses, but say what you've put into place to improve that process. Yeah, that's super important for you to do, because if you're not doing that, then really you're just saying, oh, I'm not good at it, you know, just it is the way that it is and I am the way that I am. When really what you want to be doing is saying, well, there has been a time, particularly at university, where I felt like I'm not managing my time very well, so I did A, B, C, and now I'm better. So those are the most common questions that you can expect. What I wanted to speak a little bit on is specifically for any type of management role, situations you can expect. So first of all, resourcing. So resourcing is a really important thing to think about, which is, so your resources could be products, or it could be people, or it could be time. Right? So this is basically, where are you going to concentrate your efforts? Maybe you're short staffed, maybe you need to let somebody go. Maybe you have a manager at a store who's having a dispute with another member of staff at the store and you have to go in to resolve this. Now generally in a leadership position, so Steve Wynn used to say that about Wynn Hotels, which is a chain of hotels in Las Vegas. He would say that his job is to make the best worst decision. And that's what you tend to find in a leadership position. When the problem comes to your doorstep, depending on the size of the organisation, you're the one who's got to make a difficult decision. The other thing to think about is how you spend your time and where you would go. Maybe you have 2 stores who both have issues. How do you choose where you're going and what you're doing? What about if you have a customer complaint in the store? What about if there is an incident in the store? What about if you suspect that there is theft going on in the store? Theft is a really common problem for grocers and all high street retailers, whether that be theft from customers or even worse and possibly more difficult to find, theft by staff. So how do you put those things into place? Now, a lot of times what I find is really crucial from a management point of view is, number one, to observe, to appraise yourself of all the facts, not to make an immediate emotional hair trigger decision unless it needs to be made. I remember one of my mentors who went on to grow and start the division of a management consulting firm in North America used to teach me, he'd say, is this a decision that needs to be made today? Do you have all the information that you need to make a decision? Is there a process and system in place? The other thing as well is really learning how things are done. Are there any shortcomings in the systems and processes? And not being afraid to ask for help. This is really crucial in a management or leadership position. Sometimes, particularly I've noticed this with younger managers, they can kind of reach a certain position of power or prestige, and they feel like they can't ask anybody for help, either because they feel embarrassed or naively they feel like that this is something that they should know. One thing that I would say is, if you don't have any management experience and you're going for a role like this, read some case studies. So, you know, the Chartered Institute of Management, read about how managers are, what they do, watch some YouTube videos. The best way that you can learn about this is just to immerse yourself in situations and see how you would react. Maybe go and do some case studies or do some old situational judgment tests and think about it from the viewpoint of a manager, and speak to anybody who's been in that position or role. Something that I do notice a lot of times, which I really find quite funny, is somebody will start a business, they'll tell me about starting a business, and then I just think, and I'll say, oh, would you like some help? They go, oh, no, it's all right, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, have you ever started a business before? I'm like, oh, no, but I know what I'm doing. And I just think that's so silly. So when I started my business, a lot of my friends were owners, and I was on the phone to them all the time. I would always ask their advice because they had the experience that I needed, and I made sure to put my pride and ego to one side and just say, I really don't know what I'm doing. What did you do when this happened? When this happened, what do you think I should do here? And I found it so valuable because, you know, a clever man learns from his own mistakes, and a wise man, or wise person rather, learns from the mistakes of others. So I shortcut a lot of the time that it would have taken me to get the business to where it is now or where it is going by basically learning from the mistakes of other people. Guys, I hope that if you enjoyed this video, it's something a little bit different, including my personal thoughts. Have you got an interview coming up? Have you watched this video and done your interview? Let us know how you did in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out the Lidl Pass the interview pack in the description to this video. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I wish you the best of luck. See you later.